Good evening, everybody. How are you, Danny Zari? Welcome to Newcastle Fans TV with a loan report. And hey, first things first, it's absolutely brilliant again live once again. For all you who didn't know, check out newcastlefanstv.com if you want to find out the reason behind it. But we are back. We are live, interacting. If you just want to get your live chat in, please do. And I'll read some of your comments, sorry. But today is all about the loan report. We've been doing this on the channel once a month, once every 6 weeks, just checking in on all the players, all 10 of them who are currently out on loan at the moment. I'd love to know what your thoughts are with all the players who are out on loan at the minute, whether it's the kids or whether it's the experienced players as well. But if you haven't checked out Andy Griffin video that Sam and Johnny done the other day, please check that out on the channel. It's on there. And also, we've got a competition. I forgot to mention this as well. Over on Instagram, it's going to be closing in a few days. You can win one of these 4 pictures, shirts over on the left. And on Facebook, we've got a competition running for a phone case as well. Didn't say we didn't treat you because we're D here, right? At Newcastle Fans TV. Right, let's crack on with it then. So, shall we begin with the first players? We're going to start, how we're going to do it. We're going to work from goalkeeper all the way down to striker. So let's kick things off with Jake Turner. Right, young lad, 21, was number 1 in the under-23s last season. You can see there that he's made 17 appearances so far this season with just 3 clean sheets, which is a little bit worrying, conceding 27 goals. Club position, Morecambe are sitting in 13th in League 2, but he's recently lost his place, which isn't great. He was the regular. Obviously, didn't feature against Newcastle when we walloped them 7-0 earlier on the competition because obviously he couldn't. He was cup tied, can't play against his parent club. But he started the season very well, shipping in a few goals, lost his place. The future for Jake Turner, it's a difficult one, and I've always got on record and said that I think Dan Langley should be the number 1 goalkeeper for the under-23s, regardless if Jake Turner had stayed around as well. Let's have a look at what you're saying. Do you think the game will go ahead on Saturday? These are all amazing. Thank you very much, Jake. Yes, I do think the game will go ahead. The lads are in training, been in training today, which is fantastic. Hi, Lee. Hope you're well, mate. Yes, Stephen, thank you very much. Hello, Senchi's well, regular commenter in our YouTube videos as well. So nice to have you on board as well. But with Jake Turner, I don't think his future is at Newcastle. Because if you think about what goalkeepers at the minute, you've got Gillespie third choice. You then got Woodman, who we're going to talk about in a second. And then you've got Darlow having his season of his life. And then there's the debate is, should Darlow be in goal, Dubravka, all of that. But I just cannot say a future, unfortunately, for Jake Turner. But he started games. He's got to try and get back into Morecambe's side. And if he doesn't get in pretty quick, Newcastle might recall him back. There's a couple of the lads on this video that we're talking about probably need a recall. But since we're talking about goalkeepers, the next lad is Freddie Woodman. Again, another clean sheet tonight in Swansea's 0-0 draw with Bournemouth. They're sitting pretty now 4th in the Championship. He's a key player. He's one of their star players. 17 appearances so far this season. 9 clean sheets. Over half the games he's keeping a clean sheet. Only 11 conceded. 23, second season out on loan. Again, it's the situations. Can he break Darlow? Can he break Dubravka when he comes back? It seems to be that debate that we're always having with Freddie Woodman every season. But we're going to lose him if he doesn't play first team football in it. And the thing is, though, with Woodman is he capable of being number 1 at Newcastle when he comes back next season? Especially you look at Darlow's form, signed a recent contract, hasn't he? I know Woodman has as well. And then you look at Dubravka, who's currently out injured, due to come back in the next few weeks. It's a tough one. What is D with Woodman? Please let us know in the live chat. But that's an interesting one. But the lad is doing wonders. And if Swansea do come up, they were very, very close to the end of the last season in the playoffs. But if they come up, I expect that to either be turned permanent or even extended once again in another loan spell as well. Jake says, what's your thoughts on Jetro coming back? Yeah, there's a few bits and bobs. We've mentioned this on the Flick app as well. It's free to download that. Jetro coming back would be brilliant. I think Jamal Lewis would benefit from a bit of competition. But in terms of Dummett's back now, so don't know. But I would love to see Jetro back. I think he's quality. Darlow's playing well, says Andrew. Yeah, makes the Woodman situation more interesting. I want to see him play. And it's great that we'll have Woodman, Darlow having the season of his life, and Dubravka, 3 goalkeepers, but we know that you're going to upset 1 or 2 if they didn't play football. Of course we know that. But yeah, brilliant stuff by Freddie Woodman. Local lad, North Shields lad, Lewis Cass, out on loan, played again tonight at right back for Hartlepool tonight, and their 2-0 win over, who was it over? They won 2-0 tonight. Young lad, 20 years of age, 13 appearances. He's a first team player. He starts every game for them. 7th now in the conference, depending on another result. And I think it was Aldershot. I don't know if Aldershot won tonight, but they were currently 7th when I made this graphic about an hour and a half ago. But 0 goals, 0 assists. He's not in the team to score or assist, but he can play anywhere across the back 4. I think he needed that spell out on loan because he's been in the under-23s for a good couple of years now since he moved up from the under-18s. And you probably say if he's a first-team regular for a team who are winning games, what will happen next season? Do you put him back out on loan to League One or League Two? That would probably be the ideal scenario because now he's got his first chance, really, of first-team football. You'll not want to go back to play under-23s for long. No way. But fantastic to see Lewis Cass, another one of our local lads, doing well. Not everybody's doing well in this list, to be honest with you, going through this as well. Essentially says, truly bled compared to survival on Selsbacker. Don't want Matt Selsback. No, thank you. Let's move on to the next man. And Sam, I know you're watching, is a huge fan of Florian Lejeune. First team regular. Not just that, he's also picked up a couple of Man of the Match awards already in La Liga. His club are fine. Alaves have obviously got Hoslu up top as well. The 12th in La Liga, only a couple of points off Europa League space. 10 appearances so far. You might not think that's many, but you've got to remember he was injured. Well, not injured. He wasn't match fit for the first few games of the season. Well experienced, 29. Florian Lejeune obviously he just wasn't fancied. He came out in an interview and said recently that Steve Bruce just didn't fancy him one bit. He said that he was playing too many games when he came back from injury. Obviously, we'll remember the Leicester game at home where he was disastrous. He cost for 2 goals, but he was just overplayed for a lad who had been out with a cruciate. Yeah, it's a situation at the minute of Newcastle centre-backs. For me, Fernandez and Clark look brilliant against Crystal Palace, and I don't see why the captain Jamal Lascelles should come back in, but competition there, you've got Paul Dummett, you've got Florian Lejeune, Fabian Schär's out of contract at the end of the season. Does that mean that Florian Lejeune takes Schär's position? I don't know, but the lad is talented, but the problem that he's got is just his injuries. He cannot stay fit, and unfortunately, if you can't stay fit, you aren't going to play games. But he is a talent, but he's not reliable because of his injuries, unfortunately. But I would love to see Florian Lejeune come back into the first team at the end of the season and then just make himself number 1. But again, it's all down to injuries with him. Bit of positivity. Kelyn Watts, again, I really like this lad. Made his debut against Liverpool at the end of last season. Still only young, 21. 18 appearances. He's already chipped in with a couple of goals. 1 in the league, 1 in the cup. League 1, Plymouth are sitting in 15th. The league is very tight at the minute. A couple of wins and you're in the playoffs. He's a first-team regular. He starts every game at centre-back. Every time he goes out on loan, and this is his 3rd loan, Mansfield, Stevenage, Plymouth, he's been a regular at all 3 clubs. And that shows a lot for a young lad because he's not built. He's good on the ball. Remember, he played for England's youth development sides in midfield. Kelyn Watts, again, do you bring him in at the first team next season? Get rid of Fabian Schär, get rid of Florian Lejeune and make him maybe your 4th choice or your 5th choice. But the lad is performing well. He performed well in League 1. He's performed well in League 2. He's doing great stuff. He went to the other end of the country. He didn't want to hang about and be involved in just first-team training. He went out and he wants to play games. And I'm really excited about Kelyn Watts. It's not the first time I've said that about him. The lad is really, really talented. Stephen, we call him now. Florian Lejeune. Fabian Schär is too much of a bad egg in the dressing room. Get rid. Strong. That's very strong. Do you think so? Do Fabian Schär is just not interested at the minute? I know what you meant, Stephen, in the dressing room, yeah. Shame due to age, yeah, with Florian Lejeune. He's 29. I like Lejeune, but would he want to come back, says Andrew? Would he want to play under Bruce? Probably not at the moment, no, because he speaks Spanish. He's playing first-team football. Would he like to play at a high caliber club? Yes, but he's playing first-team football. I don't think there's any need to change that. Jack Young is the next one that we're chatting about now. Bit concerning for this lad. big things were expected because he was involved in a couple of match day squads at the end of last season, training with the first team when we came back out of lockdown, when the squad were back in training. Still young. He's only 20 though. But what's alarming is that he's only made 3 appearances for Tranmere since going out on loan. And what's even more worrying is that he hasn't even made the match day squad in the last 6 fixtures. Tranmere played tonight, and he wasn't involved. Tranmere doing well, 10th in League Two. I think they're only a point off the playoffs. Fringe player at the minute for Jack Young. It's a bit concerning. I was hoping he would at least be a squad player there, but whether that's down to an injury which we're unknown of, someone please do tell me. But that's a bit worrying for me, especially when, Bruce thinks that he's highly thought of. It's a little worrying for Jack Young. Hopefully that changes, because I can see that getting recalled. I really could see that him coming back in January and being sent somewhere else, because the lad just isn't playing, and that's what you go out on loan. And you've seen that problems with Elliot Sorensen when he went to Blackpool and when he went to Carlisle. Sorensen, we'll talk about him in a second, but a big concern for Jack Young, really is. Mo Sangare, another centre midfielder who isn't playing many games, 21, but a lot of people forget that he plays for his country, full country as well. He plays in all the African Nation Cup qualifiers and World Cup qualifiers for Liberia. Got 4 appearances so far this season, 21. It's his first time away from the club. Obviously, Tom Allen's at Accrington as well. Accrington are flying. You might only say that they're 7th in League One, but Accrington have got like 2 or 3 games in hand on the teams above them, so they could shoot up the table into 3rd, 4th. Fringe player at the minute. And I know he was injured and he missed a few games. And obviously, Accrington had the coronavirus situation, a bit like how we are at the moment, where we can't play games. They had some like 19, 20 first team players and staff involved, and a little bit concerning it is with Mo Sangare. He's not playing games, and that situation, a bit similar to Jack Young. Maybe he needs a recall and maybe sent to another club because the lad isn't playing, which is a bit alarming. Since we're talking about Accrington, Tom Allen, really highly thought of, hasn't he? Scored over 20 goals for the under-23s last season. Made his debut, of course. We all remember coming off the bench in the replay against Rochdale, and the first thing he did was set up Joe Linton to score, if you remember, from the right wing. 21, still a great age. 8 appearances, hasn't got an assist or a goal yet. But again, Accrington, as we touched upon, Mo Sangare just before, flying. A few games in hand. He's a squad player, so he's getting more game time than Sangare. Tom Allen and Sangare didn't even feature tonight, but at least he's making appearances here and there. It would be great if he could make himself a first team player, but at least he's getting a few game time here and there. But again, that's the situation that the club may look at if that doesn't improve, because December have a lot of games with Accrington. He plays on the right wing. He plays also up top, a bit something like he did with the under-23s. But, he's a young lad. He's probably up there with Elliot Anderson, is the ones that you're probably looking at. People might say Elliot Sorensen was one of the youngsters that you might pin your hopes on a couple of years ago. But it goes to show you, if you get put out in men's leagues, some of these lads will sink or swim. And at the moment, out the youngsters, obviously Freddie Woodman's been around for a few years, but so far on this list, only really Kelyn Watts are doing the business. I'm talking youngsters here, obviously not Lejeune, because he's established. But yeah, hopefully we'll see improvements changing. And then we've got literally a couple more strikers to wrap up. So if you want to get your commenting before we finish tonight's live stream. Yoshinori Mutu, do you remember him? The forgotten lad, not fancied under Benitez, not fancied either under Steve Bruce. He is playing a lot more games for Eibar. 28, well experienced, played in the Bundesliga, has played in the Premier League, now La Liga. Got his first goal just last week, which was nice to see. Doesn't start all the games. I think he started 55% of the games, so he's coming off the bench. He's starting a few. He's getting rotated a lot. 11th in La Liga, again, not far off Florian Lejeune's side. I think they're only a point behind Alaves, but yeah, for me, his future's not at the club. It's not. It's not. I mean, if you can't get in the side and ahead of Joe Linton and Dwight Gale and Andy Carroll, for me, nah. I think it'd be good if we can try and get rid of him, get a couple of million maybe, but I don't think we'll get much from Mutu. But for me, his future's not at Newcastle. I think he needs to get away, sell him. Because they don't want the situation where you've got an Henri Saivet and an Ashraf Lazar still at the club and you're still trying to find loan spells over and over and over for Mutu. No, you need to get rid of him. You really, really do. St. Charles, Mutu is one of our worst signings in recent years. Yeah, Rafa's got a few, and Rafa's brilliant for her. But Rafa's made horrendous signings, like Mutu's one of them. Matt Sells springs to mind. Ashraf Lazar. I'm sure there's one or two you can name as well, but they spring to mind straight away. But with Mutu, not for me. Nah, get rid of him. But then again, with Mutu, has he really been given a run in the side? Because what's his best position? Is it striker? Is it number 10? Who knows? Let us know. Last one on the list is Elias Sorensen. Again, a lad who I touched upon a little bit earlier on, had a couple of difficult spells at Blackpool and Carlisle. 21, still young. He talked about this quite recently where he wants a chance next season, pre-season. Just made 5 appearances, but he has spent almost a month out injured. He's playing for a side who are flying at the minute in the Eerste Divisie, which is the second division behind the Eredivisie. They're absolutely flying. They've only got 1 defeat so far, but he's chipped in with a couple of goals, got an assist. He's a rotated player. He'll start a game, then he's back on the bench, and then he's back starting, back on the bench. Hopefully, these lads that we're talking about tonight, especially with strikers, with young talent, play games, score goals, grab assists. That's what you want. But Sorensen, it's not a bad record, 2-5, considering you don't start. But the question is then, if you're not starting for Dutch, I mean, how good is the Eerste Divisie? Because for me, the Eredivisie is probably the bottom end of the championship. That's my own preference. But if you're going even further down to the Eerste Divisie, which is probably equivalent to maybe bottom end of League One, maybe League Two, hopefully bags in a few more goals. Rich, the Sheffield Magpie. Hello, Rich. Nice to see you, mate. He's not making much effort to learn English. I presume, Rich, you're on about Mutu there. Again, Kenny's just touch upon that. Mutu was never given a fair run, which is fair enough. He wasn't really. I mean, what is his best position? Is it a 10? Was it out wide? Was it an out and out striker? I don't know. You always seem to start against Leicester for some reason. Scored against them in the League Cup, didn't he, last season? And don't think Rafa was the main decision maker in terms of transfers, to be fair to him. Probably not. He's probably restricted to what you can and cannot buy. But I think Rafa's had a lot more control than what any other managers had at Newcastle. He had a big say in transfers, though. Maybe not the budget, but in terms of who were coming in the list, he never got his first choice. We know that. He was always like 3rd, 4th choice. Manquillo's an example of that. But Manquillo's improved his game massively, hasn't he? Definitely needs a run in the main squad next season. So, thank you very much for commenting tonight. We're going to be doing a lot more live streams. If you've got any Christmas people in mind, you've got your 3 retro stuff, which is a link in the description for all of that. Of course, you've got your Amazon stuff. We've added a few more stuff onto there. And of course, you want to get mortal and get drunk over Christmas. You got your BR52 promotion, where it's only paid like under £6 for your delivery. So do check them out if you need anything for Christmas. But coming up on the channel, obviously, I touch upon this. We've got all the live videos are back. Live watch-alongs on the main channel. Quick reactions. We're fan reaction show is back. We want you lot to start appearing back on the channel like we used to. Live scoring the players is back on the weekend. Everything's back. And yesterday or the day before, we had Gabriel Clark, a long interview on NFTV Extra. So do head over there if you haven't seen that. But yeah, good to be back. It's good to be back live. And we'll see you in a couple of days where we'll have a black and white show special where we'll be asking you to chip in with your comments. And of course, we've also got, what else we've got? The preview. Forgot about the preview. Yeah, the preview as well. Is Sorensen any worse than Joe Litton? That's the golden question, isn't it, Kenny? If he's not given a chance, who knows? But that's it. Enjoy your night, everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.